We know we're in a sort of a climate and nature crisis, and the two are very much linked, so we're really working, if we can solve the nature crisis, then actually it will help other things like flooding, so all the trees that we're going to be putting in and the peatlands will all actually help adapt as the climate continues to get more extreme.
We don't get up in the morning and whilst you're having your cornflakes suddenly think, right, how are we going to kind of make these two or three things fit? They're all meshed, intertwined.
We have to work collaboratively to pool our data, expertise, knowledge, resources, funding. There's government bodies, there's local authorities, there's landowners across all spectrums. Anybody that has an interest in a catchment can join those groups and work together to help us improve the health of our rivers.
This project, the Wansbeck Restoration for Climate Change, is actually looking at the landscape scale, so working with stakeholders and farmers and partners in that area, and we're looking to create and restore more habitat for nature, to connect up wildlife-rich places for wildlife and for people. We're looking to store carbon in habitats and also mitigate the impacts of climate change. So, for example, if you restore floodplains, you store water, prevent flooding downstream, but you also create more habitat for nature as well.
I mean, Wallington is the largest estate within the National Trust, and certainly agricultural estate, and we have 15 tenant farmers, so of course working with our tenants is absolutely vital in terms of achieving our goals and ambitions. And they've been absolutely brilliant. We've been working them over the last 5 years on our vision jointly together. And so, working forward now with making the most of grants and actually working with them, improving the farms as we go along.
And we enjoy the way we farm, and then off the back of that we've got all of this going on around us. We've got the otters, we've got the red squirrels, we've got the freshwater crayfish, we've got the biodiversity in terms of the native plants and the wildflowers, and we've got the clovers and the legumes and all. We've got a lot going on and it's quite exciting.
The thing that excites me about a project like this has to be the partnership working. I've been involved in the Wansbeck Partnership from day one. I've seen it grow from a really small number of partners to now a really successful, strong partnership. And without those partners, there's no way a project like this could have gone ahead.
I'm really quite positive and I'm excited about the things we can potentially do. Generally, getting excited that there's actually something I can get my teeth into and go forward again, because I love going forward.
I'm a geomorphologist. I work at ACOM, predominantly work in river restoration, including feasibility studies such as the Wansbeck feasibility study. My interest in rivers came from a love of fly fishing. The river restoration can take multiple forms, and really simple measures such as the fencing we've got here, which allows the development of a rich riparian zone to create a buffer between the farmland and the river to catch nutrients and sediment and that sort of thing, all the way up to quite extensive river restoration projects where heavy plants required to re-wiggle the river, as it were, and create bends in rivers where they've been lost over time.
We put together 13 projects which cover 144 hectares of land. And there's three kind of key objectives of the project. So there's the actual habitat restoration and creation itself, but there's also an objective to look at green finance model to draw in funding from business to help restore landscapes. And the third aspect is looking at how habitats store carbon over a 10-year period.
So the main ways that a landowner can benefit are through diversified income streams. So for example, you might be able to access a carbon market or the biodiversity market, water stewardship market. There are more and more ecosystem services markets coming alive every day.
There's an estimate there's a £56 billion shortfall in order for the government to achieve the outcomes that they've set out in the 25-year environment plan, and that's very much where we see business stepping in. And this is a societal issue that we've all got a role to play in changing the way we do things and what we do to address climate change and biodiversity loss. And the part that green finance can play is to help fund these landscape scale projects.
One of the important aspects of market-led approaches is the ability to blend funding streams. So you can blend sources of funding from government organisations, from private investment, from philanthropic grants, hopefully from future environment land management schemes, and in this way we create a system where landowners can be paid for hosting, maintaining and managing those assets over long time scales. By blending different sources of funding, we all get more for less.
Because of the nature crisis, things like the Lawton report, which talked about bigger, better and more joined up. So we're therefore looking to work way beyond our boundaries as well with our neighbouring estates and farms.
Working with the National Trust has enabled us to start delivery of projects at a landscape scale, and we now are seeing the ripple effect off the Wallington estate as we move further down the catchment towards Ashington, delivering similar types of projects.